why buildings crack, and how engineers fix it. Wait, before you panic, that crack on the wall doesn't automatically mean the building is about to collapse, but sometimes it does. And the difference? Engineers know exactly why buildings crack and how to fix them. All right, imagine this. You walk into a room you've known for years. Some walls, some ceiling. Then boom, you notice a crack that definitely wasn't there before. Your brain immediately goes, is this place still safe? Totally fair question. Here's the truth most people don't know. Buildings cracking is actually normal. Almost every structure will crack at some point in its life. The real question isn't if it cracks. It's why it cracks, and whether that crack is harmless or a red flag. Let's break this down, friend to friend. First big reason building crack, the ground moves. Not dramatically like an earthquake, just quietly, slowly over time. Engineers call this settlement. When a building is new, its weight presses down on the soil. That soil compresses. If it compresses evenly, no problem. But if one part settles more than another, building stretches and concrete doesn't like stretching, so it cracks. These cracks usually show up as thin, vertical lines on walls, especially near doors or windows. They're often cosmetic, but they're telling you a story about what's happening below your feet. Second raison, température. Heat and cold. Concrete and steel expand when it's hot and shrink when it's cold. Now imagine that happening every single day, over years, without enough space to move. Eventually, something gives. That's when you see long, straight cracks, especially on external walls or slabs exposed to the sun. This is why engineers design expansion joints, basically planned gaps that let the building breathe instead of tearing itself apart. No joint, nature creates its own, with cracks. Third, and this one's big poor construction practices. Bad materials, wrong mix ratios, rush curing weak foundations, or ignoring soil test entirely. Concrete that dries too fast will shrink too much, steel placed incorrectly won't carry load properly. And foundations built on unsuitable soil? That's asking for trouble. These cracks don't whisper, they scream. You'll see wide diagonal cracks, cracks that keep growing, or cracks that show up alongside doors that no longer close properly. That's the building saying, hey, something wrong. Now let's talk about overloading, because buildings are designed for specific weights, people, furniture, equipment. But when a structure gets extra floors added, or heavy machines installed without redesign, or water tanks placed where they shouldn't be, the stress redistributes. And once the load exceeds what the structure can safely carry, cracks appear at beams, columns, and slabs, right where the forces are fighting hardest. So how do engineers fix all this? First thing we don't do is panic. Cracks our information. They tell us where the stress is going and why. Engineers start by observing the crack, its width, its direction, its location. Is it active or dormant? Hairline or widening? For small, non-structural cracks, the fix can be simple: epoxy injection, plaster, repair. Basically, restore appearance and prevent moisture from getting in. But structural cracks, that's a different game. If settlement is the issue, engineers might strengthen the foundation, underpinning, soil stabilization, or even redesigning load paths so the building behaves better. If temperature movement is the problem, expansion joints get introduced or existing ones improved, so the building can move without damage. If construction quality is the culprit, structural members may be strengthened, steel plates added, carbon fiber wrapping, extra reinforcement, sometimes even partial demolition and rebuilding. And when overloading is the cause, loads are reduced, distributed, or the structure is upgraded to handle the new demands safely. Here's the part I really want you to remember. Cracks aren't the enemy. Ignoring them is. A small crack today can be a simple repair. The same crack ignored for years can turn into a major structural failure. That's why engineers don't just patch cracks. We diagnose them, because every crack has a reason and a solution. So next time you see one, don't just cover it with paint and hope for the best. Ask the real question. Why? Is this crack here? Because buildings talk. Cracks are just how they speak. If you found this useful, stick around. We break down real construction problems and real engineering solutions without the boring textbook talk. See you in the next one.